Okay, PJ Net live Friday night. Refugee Roger standing by in the green room. Everything's ready to go. We'll switch to Studio 5 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, PJ Net Live is back. The Twitter boot camp is done. The first of several more is done, and thank you so much for those of you who piled on and participated and hopefully benefited from. Refugee Roger has already been on the air today, but he is back in our green room, and just wanted to make a comment about the beautiful swamp of Lake Miccosukee. That's where I grew up, folks, and I put that up in honor and respect for the bayou country of Louisiana, where Roger makes his home. Well, Roger, did you get your fires put out?
I got my fires put out. We apologize. I know people have gotten used to an ever increasing amount of quality every week. And, and now tonight I'm calling on the cell phone for a quick chat because we just had a lot going on today and things got kind of backed up. And the computer battery is dead. It's charging right now. But yeah, it was a good day today, Mark, with the Twitter boot camp. I enjoyed it.
I can't wait until the next one, and quite honestly, all of us, I think, were ill-prepared, not focused, but we got a lot of stuff out there, and basically we responded. We saw smoke, we ran toward the smoke with buckets of gas to pour on it, and we spewed it out a lot. It was about an hour and a half, but next time we will have a little bit more of a prepared lecture type environment, focused and topics and so forth. But
they get some questions between now and then too about some of what we shared today and everything like that. But Mark, it's a big topic. It can be done for a while. I remember when I was doing the Daily Show for a while, I did the Friday show purely about
Follow Friday, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Twitter account, how to be more successful on Twitter, and I was doing that every week. So you can really talk for hours and hours and hours, and then when you're talking to an audience of newbies, you keep stopping yourself because you're like, "They're not ready for this yet. They're not
right.
They're not talking about this."
I'm sure we got over their heads pretty quickly, but some of the stuff you heard may not make sense now, but a little bit later on you'll recall, I remember that. All right, so you got back home, got your fires out. Let's talk about a few current events, because if I don't have people like you tell me what's going on, I don't know.
David Koch has passed, and prayers go out to his family. But also I want to talk about a flawed but in many ways very respectable man. We're all flawed people. But David Koch is an incredibly misunderstood person. And I have watched the left today literally putting out tweets of celebration, dancing, and so on and so forth. And I have a sister, actually, that she thought of David Koch as about the most evil man on the planet. And I talked to her a little while ago, and I said, you understand that he was completely opposed to Common Core, right? He put a lot of money into that. And even though my sister is a liberal, she hates Common Core. And she's like, well, I don't believe that, blah, blah, blah. And I said, no, he put a lot of money into the fight against Common Core. And then I said, he was pro-abortion, right? And she started to stutter and stammer. And I said, he supported gay marriage, right? And then I said, he opposed a border wall on the southern border. And he supported the kind of immigration reform that Democrats voted for again and again and again, right? By this point, she was just in a state of fury and basically denying that all of this was true. And I
Liberals
said,
really don't deal with facts very well, do they?
These are the things I don't like about it. Okay, except for the Common Core thing. I like the Common Core thing. I said, I also I happen to agree with him, but really there were more liberals that went along with this than there were conservatives. I agreed with him on criminal justice reform that was just passed into law and signed by Donald Trump. I agreed with him on that stuff. David Koch was a capitalist libertarian who believed passionately in the First and Second Amendments
Mm-hmm.
and believed passionately in a pro-free market system of government. Okay. And he put a lot of money into supporting those things. He was the vice presidential candidate on the Libertarian ticket in 1980. Later on, he decided that the Libertarian Party wasn't going anywhere. He decided, of the two parties, the Republican Party is closer to me than the Democratic Party. So that's the party he supported with his dollars. And then he would support individual specific candidates, and he would support individual causes. He also gave away just absurd amounts of money as a philanthropist on medical research, hospitals, and to things like this. So he was a mixed bag. He was not. There are some on the far right who hate him. Everybody on the far left hates him. And there are people that just don't like facts, and they want to think of it as our team versus their team. And, oh, he was always funding their team, you know, and everything like that. No, he was he was a mixed bag guy. But what I respect about him, other than his success, is that he always put his money where his mouth was, and he fought very hard to make the country and world what he thought was a better place. And sometimes I agreed with him on the issues, and sometimes I didn't. But the liberal grave dancing is disgusting and unbecoming. And I hope that we won't dance on George Soros's grave when it passes.
That was my comment, to you when you told me that the passing of somebody's life. I mean, we differ in what we think America should be. But until you get to the extremes out on the fringes, most of us just have a difference of opinion about what America is and should be. You in your own faith, there are many Catholics that are just bleeding heart liberals and will just give away. That doesn't make them evil. That's just what they're just misguided, I guess. I don't know. But, Catholic Charities is a major funder of a lot of good causes. Now, you may disagree with some things. But.
Yeah, they all kinds of things. And, and so it's funny. And when we step back a minute and not be quite as hard on the man when I say he was pro-abortion. He's my definition of pro-abortion because I'm a very, very strict pro-lifer. But David Koch did not celebrate abortion. He was one of these libertarians who really just believed in very few laws against things. And he was the type that would make the argument, if we try to outlaw abortion, if the government gets involved in trying to outlaw abortion, men are going to start having abortions. Everything's going to, he basically just had this pure libertarian philosophy that he went by. He wasn't one of these people who was out there promoting third trimester abortion and so on and so forth. But I'm just making the point. There were many issues that he was closer to the left than the right. Mm-hmm. He just on balance was like, okay, I'm a little closer to the Republicans. So when I have to pick between those two, that's what I'm going to support. He was certainly not a supporter of Donald Trump. And when Trump won the nomination, the Koch PAC, the Koch brothers PAC, they spent all of their money keeping the Senate in Republican hands and keeping the House in Republican hands. They ignored the presidential race.
Right. Good move. When you were talking about his opposition to abortion, in some ways it's similar to my opposition to the federal government's involvement in education. I have argued, now this is not a good argument, in a debate. You won't win debates this way, but it is the way I feel. If Common Core would be a cure for cancer, I would still oppose it because it's an illegal enterprise, because I've read the 10th Amendment and the enumerated powers of the federal government. Now, if you want to amend the Constitution to include education, amend the Constitution, and then we will have a discussion on the merit or lack thereof of Common Core. But until then, it doesn't matter. The entire Department of Education, the U.S. Department of Education, is a criminal enterprise from its inception. Instituted, by the way, by a Republican president. But so he might have felt the same way, that the federal government shouldn't even be involved in the discussion, and this should be a matter for the states to decide for themselves.
Yeah, he was very libertarian,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where he was. So the man has passed. Prayers for his family, prayers for his soul, and we hope for the best, and we move on.
Well, I know that there's a commercial that's airing locally.
And even though George Soros really is, like, there's like nowhere that George Soros is taking the conservative position on anything that I can find. And so even though George Soros I completely consider to be my enemy, no, I'm a Christian. I pray for my enemies. I do battle with my enemies, and I do not dance on their graves.
I saw that Ginsburg was trending on Twitter. Did you hear about that?
She has received, and boy, they tried to say this in a hurry. They said radiation treatments for cancer of the pancreas, but that there was no other cancer anywhere else, and they moved on very quickly. Cancer of the pancreas can be incredibly serious.
It's very serious.
And them cancer anywhere. I mean, that's now the third time cancer has turned up in her body, and that she's had some sort of treatment. And no, I'm not happy about it. Look, I want Justice Ginsburg to convert to Christianity and retire.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I pray for every day, is that she will find the Lord Jesus Christ, become a Christian, and retire, and spend the rest of her days exploring her relationship with Jesus Christ. Okay, that is what would make me happy.
I guess the good news is that this news is evidence that she is still, in fact, alive. Because for a long time, people were wondering.
She's still living.
They were wondering if she was just being propped up. So.
You know what? Since she's up, a couple positive things about her, because there's one or two Supreme Court justices I can't say positive about, but let me say one or two positive things about Ginsburg. She's a hardcore liberal, but and I disagree with her on those issues horribly. She remained a friendly person to Antonin Scalia. They were able to be friends, and he wasn't able to be friends with all the liberals, but he was able to be friends with her. They were able to enjoy opera together. They were able to talk about things that they had in common together. And she recently came out strongly in defense of Brett Kavanaugh, which always makes me nervous, but still, she came out strongly in defense of Brett Kavanaugh and just talked about what a decent human being is and what a good man is. And, after everything. So as liberal as she is, and as much as I dislike her on policy and on her view of the role of the Supreme Court and the Constitution, she has never been one of those types that's taken it to the point of this absolute personal vitriol and hatred of other people the way so many liberals do.
Maybe there's hope. Well, Roger, I think if you have some closing remarks, fine. I think we can cut it a little short today because we've stepped all over poor Steve Hazard. Bless his heart. He does a great job on Friday night, and we really enjoy his style of music, and we really appreciate his offering himself to be our video host tonight. Roger, get that computer battery charged up. I'm glad to hear that it's okay, because at first you thought it was just dead.
Yeah, it was. Well, but particularly because the plug is plugged in at the wall and the light is on that little conduit thing. It looked like it was plugged in at the computer, but it kind of backed out enough at the computer. It wasn't really plugged in. Battery.
Things are not always as they seem. Well, okay. Well, there's hope for all of us, and we'll get rigged up. I think you're right. The expectations of ourselves, we keep trying to improve. We want to be better each time. I think today's Twitter boot camp was just a total unorganized mess. But you know what? It's sort of like fish. Eat the meat and spit out the bones. Dig down in there and find some good stuff. We'll do better next time. So, hey, Roger, appreciate
this. This is real grassroots stuff, and that's what it is. That's one of the things that's just so fun about it.
Well, let's keep it that way. All right, man. We'll see you about this time next week.
All right, God bless you, Mark.
All right, take care, bud. Refugee Roger right here on PJ Net Live. It's been a big day, a very tiring day, not only for myself, but many of you. I'm looking in the chat room, just want to say hey to, I've already mentioned Hazards 4, Lori Metzger here with us, Sunbelt Girl here with us, Tammy is with us, we've got some people in the balcony not logged into the chat. You are welcome as well. Let's turn the console back over to Hazards 4 as we play some tunes and continue the fun and fellowship right here on PJ Net Live.